that we're demanding a remote option for our children in September. We're in front of CSA right now because CSA has agreed to come to the table and have a round table on this discussion. We need all the other stakeholders to follow their lead and do the same thing and respect the parents that are here, respect the students, and respect our future, because you know what? If we go into this situation again and even one student died, we're robbing the future. We're robbing ourselves. So that's why we're here. We're going to continue to stand. We're going to continue to march. We're going to continue to use our voices as a collective to make sure that safety reigns, that science reigns, because that is what's needed. That is what's called for in this day and age. And you know, we have seen many successes with remote learning. Like one of the youth said, all of the things that support remote learning are things that our students should have. You know, I grew up in Long Island, and those schools, they have all of the materials. They have all the laptops, they have the Wi-Fi, they have all of that set up. That's what our students deserve. So we're going to keep being out here. Thank you so much for all the parents and for all the students coming out today. And yeah, let's keep making noise. What do we want? When do we want it? Now! What do we want? When do we want it?
Now!
All right, we have 6 students. Go ahead, Rashida. Rashida.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
All right. Peace and blessings, everyone. My name is Rashida Brown Harris. I'm a parent leader, and let me tell y'all why I'm here. It's a bunch of parents that I speak to and family members who want remote options.
That's right.
They cannot be here today because they are still suffering. They have a lot going on in regards to unemployment, housing stability, and health issues.
Eviction coming up soon.
They want to be at the table, but they don't know how. They want to speak up, but they're afraid. They're afraid they're going to be punished. Their children will be targeted. They asked me to please show up and show out and represent for them. I'm here. We need remote options. These families I speak of are from poorer communities. They are black and brown families, immigrant communities. And if we were rich, white families, they would listen to us. If we were the wealthier families, they would listen. The wealthier families start to speak and everyone is listening. They get to sit at the table and they accommodate them, they meet with them, they listen to them. We're here to let y'all know that we are a force. You have to listen to us. Majority of our families want this option. And I say we don't want it forever, but we want it for reopening because we're not ready.
That's right.
We're not ready. We will not be ready in September. Families need the support and resources which New York City has, and they have to plan and they have to get it together for our families, for majority of the New York City public school families. We want remote options. We need to take our time and do this right. Let's not rush. Don't open the doors and just send us all in running and making us think that we don't have an option, we can't do anything else but just follow and abide by what you tell us to do. No, we know that we can stand together and unite and fight. And that's what we're doing, and that's what we're going to keep doing until we get what we want. What do we want?
Remote options.
We want remote options now. Thank you.
I think the student
Y'all hear me?
Yeah.
All right. My name is Paulette Healy. I'm a returning member of the Citywide Council on Special Education. And I'm also here representing parents for responsive, equitable, safe schools. We have kept these schools safe.
That's right.
We appreciate the CSA coming to the table with us and talking about the remote option. We stand with our principals that have had to navigate this ridiculous no guideline approach that the DOE has taken to remote learning, to this pandemic in general. We appreciate the fact that masks are important. You see everyone here speaking, regardless of vaccines, the masking still needs to continue. And what de Blasio loves to talk about in terms of summarizing 200,000 kids and summarizing, free summarizing, let me tell you something, okay? There is no trauma supports in summarizing. There is no busing in place to get these kids to summarizing. These 75 students, 9,000 of them are in person. Only 4,000 was able to get into the buildings because there are no buses. All right? The only reason they're getting education right now is because of a remote option. You take that away in September, what's going to happen to our D75 kids? There's no busing going to be available in September. They're still talking about contracts. After $1.6 billion has been wasted already on OPT. Where's the oversight there? Why are you just spending our money without asking us what we want? We want a remote option. We need to keep our kids safe. We know that there's one there. You said that there's no snow days. You said that we got to work during election day, and that's all going to be remote. So the structure is there. Give us our voice. Give us our choice. We want the remote option now. Stop uplifting our children as if they're pawns. You're not putting our most vulnerable children first. If that was the case, you would allow our parents who have kept our children safe, the 60% that have kept remote up until June, you didn't initiate any conversations with them. UFT, you want to pay $25 a volunteer to knock on doors? What about putting that money towards trauma supports for your staff, for the teachers, for the social workers who are suffering anxieties about stepping foot into that building? We know these 75 kids are co-located in basements, in storage closets, in theaters with no ventilation, on nothing but an oscillating fan. What about our kids there? What about MLK, who is the one school that's gotten their upgrades? What about the hundreds and thousands of other schools that have not gotten their upgrades? Where the work orders are still impending because they're waiting for contracts. Contracts. That's the only thing the DOE needs to understand, and they understand how to spend money without oversight. They understand how to spend money without asking us what it is that we need. Where are our social workers? Where are our counselors? Where are our nurses? Where are our related service providers? My son waited 3 weeks for a speech therapist. How is he going to make up those services? There's only 3 weeks left of summer school. I had to take my daughter out of summarizing because she was suffering panic attacks about being in a school that she hadn't stepped foot in for over a year. Because there's no trauma supports for these kids. Okay? When are we going to finally start taking care of the people that are serving our children? When are we going to start taking care of the families that are sending our children into these buildings? You know who died? Our paras, our teachers, our first responders. Okay? That has not changed. And like we said in August last year, and it's deja vu again, we won't die for the DOE. Give us a remote option now.
All right, police.
Stop spending money on goddamn stuff.
Great.
I'm sorry. I don't know. We're going to pick up the Yes, he does.
Okay, so can they hear me?
Yes.
So I'm here to read our demands. We want a centralized remote option at the district or borough level that prioritizes social emotional learning and culturally responsive curriculums and allows for student voice, parent empowerment, and teacher autonomy. Free universal broadband, a quality working internet-connected device, headset and/or keyboard, were age appropriate in the hands of every public school student who needs one. Language justice, translation and interpretation in line with all remote options. Snail mail in addition to digital correspondence, updating families and educators on the status of remote options this fall. Opportunity to collaborate and make remote learning work for all stakeholders who require it.
Next one.
It's on you. Wrap it up. It's on you.
All right, so.
Bring it home.
Bring it home. Bring it home.
All right, so, as someone, actually, President Speaker.
I don't mind. Can we all just give it up for the Bronx Parent Advocacy Group? This is the power of parents, this is the power of students, this is the power of educators. So many collectives have been created out of thin air, out of the sheer need to stand in the gap that the Department of Education, that City Council, that our governor, that our mayor continue to leave us with. We are operating in a deficit and we don't have to because our city has what it needs to provide for every child. Why does it refuse to do so? Why does Harlem not get the same resources as the Upper East Side? Why does Bronxville not get the same resources as Park Slope? Why does the Bronx not get the same resources as Greenwich Village? It's outrageous. But the Alliance for Quality Education fought and won fair student funding. And then the Coalition for Educational Justice fought and won socially responsive education. So there are exactly 0.000 excuses to introduce our children and school staff back into what they were subjected to before COVID. If we are talking about choice when it comes to charters who are taking up all our space and running us out of our schools, then why are we talking about choice when it comes to remote learning?
That's right.
For every other education issue is choice. So where's our choice for remote?
Heads up.
I'll bring us on home, y'all. I just want to thank everyone for their, the Bronx Parent Leader Advocacy Group and the parents and teachers and students here. We've been fighting all summer. We've been fighting all year. It wasn't just for remote. We've been fighting for culturally responsive education. We've been fighting for language justice. We've been fighting for equality and equity and access for our students with disabilities, for our multilingual learners, for our low-income students, and the students and families of essential workers. We out here. So it's always ridiculous when someone's like, well, I don't hear anyone. That's because y'all are choosing not to listen. That's right. That's the problem. And don't look at the numbers and say, oh, it's only 20 people. A lot of the parents impacted by these systems that are created by decisions of individuals who don't live these lives, they don't have the luxury of coming out here and being advocates. Right. But that doesn't mean that they don't stand in solidarity with us, and it doesn't mean that they don't need what we're asking for on our and their behalf. That's right. A remote option is not a huge lift because parents and educators like us are ready to support and collaborate and make it happen. But we need the resources. We need the oversight. We need guidance that is culturally responsive and healing-centered, not do whatever you want to do at your school, because that doesn't work. COVID taught us that. This school year taught us that. We thank our principals and our school staff for working with literally nothing, but we shouldn't have to. We shouldn't have to. We are demanding a remote option. And the way that you were scared about flight of white parents when you opened up the schools haphazardly, you need to be worried about us. You need to be worried about the lack of partnership. If we continue to be stomped on, to be ignored, to be silenced and gaslit, when we ask simple questions like, well, where are the nurses? Where are the guidance counselors? What mental health supports are being offered to the staff, some of whom haven't left the building yet? Our kitchen staff, our custodial staff, our summer rising staff. Y'all talking about summer rising like it's this great thing. Our bus drivers don't even want to drive because they're scared too. Let's talk about that. That's right. You can't get the D75 students back into school without building the trust back with the bus drivers. Hello?
You can't get ours back without building the trust either.
And you can't build trust with any stakeholder without being honest, transparent, and communicating effectively. kill this narrative that you opened the largest school system successfully. You did not. You did not. This school system is on our backs. We're making it work. Killing ourselves to serve the students that we love in the communities that we love. We need that same energy from you. No more backroom deals. No more appeasing white wealthy parents. Serve the public school students that are most vulnerable. You keep using the language and the buzzwords, culturally responsive, culturally responsive. Not having a remote option is not culturally responsive.
It's not.
Not having a remote option is not trauma-informed or healing-centered. So if you're going to talk about it, be about it.
Yes.
We want a remote option and we want it now.
Yo, I want to add one thing. Taj, you was like, they need to, like, pay attention to the ones that ain't going nowhere. Right? Like, they pay attention to the ones that threaten to run away all the time.
Right.
But the people that ain't going nowhere, the ones that been here the whole time, the one that whose backs that this city is built on,
Right.
right? Like, you're not even paying attention to that. Like, we ain't going nowhere. So guess what? You can appease people all you want, but at the end of the day, the people that ain't going nowhere are the ones that's gonna stay in your face to get what we need.
That's right.
Right? So I want to just take a moment and shout out the Bronx again, because y'all showed up. I want to shout out Uptown and Harlem, because y'all showed up. I want to shout out Brooklyn, because y'all showed up. Right? I want to shout out District 75, because y'all showed up. Right? I want to shout out the Bronx Parent Leaders Advocacy Group, because y'all showed up. I want to shout out the New Settlement Parent Action Committee, because y'all showed up. I want to shout out the Moore Caucus of the UFT, because y'all showed up.
Healing Center School.
Yeah, I want to shout out the Healing Center Schools Working Group, because y'all showed up. Right? I want to shout out Press, because y'all showed up. Right? I want to shout out our CECs, because y'all showed up. What people don't understand is CECs, your community education councils, are the parents that were elected to represent you in these spaces.
Represent the community.
Right? So to have the UFT circumvent all of that
That's right.
by canvassing our neighborhoods. And wait, let's be real about what it is. They canvassing the Bronx, right? You got 6 CECs in the Bronx, right? 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, right? And we showed up together as the Bronx Parent Leaders Advocacy Group and told you what our parents needed. But rather than meet with us, right, you figure you just gonna go and start canvassing our communities, right? Like we don't matter. But guess what? We still here. We still here. We gonna be here. We gonna be in your face the whole time until we get what we need for our kids.
That's right.
So again, I want to thank all of y'all for showing up. This is the power right here to make the change, to get the things that we need for our students and our families. Thank you.
Hey, yo, one group picture before folks take off. Everyone get
Oh, group
Yes,
shot.
come on.
Yes, group shot.